What's up everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome. So today I'm going to be talking about something that I've actually been asked a lot about recently. I'm not sure why. Ever since I posted my closet video, I've been getting so many DMs on Instagram about this. Actually, ever since I showed you guys how I budget on Excel, which I am going to be talking about and showing you guys how to do in this video, I've been getting so many requests to talk about how I afford luxuries, how I purchase these things without going in debt, how I budget myself every month to be able to afford them, and just basically how I plan my financials. So although the title of this video is how to afford luxuries, I'm going to be giving you guys my best tips that I've learned over the years on just how to really save your money. Before we get into this video, I just want to thank Audible for partnering with me and sponsoring this video. You guys know if you've watched any of my vlogs, I am a huge fan of Audible. My sister's a huge fan of Audible. We're just always listening to audiobooks. As you guys know, I haven't been in university for almost 2 years now, and I was kind of faced with a dilemma because I really wanted to increase my knowledge and learn. However, I didn't have time to sit there with a physical book and read. So whenever I'm working, whenever I'm getting ready, when I'm working on jewelry, when I'm walking the dog, when I'm driving, I'll listen to an audiobook. One of the main ways I was actually able to learn all of these tips was through audiobooks. The last time I talked about Audible, I talked about the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It really focuses on financial literacy and just teaches you so much. So if you haven't listened to that one, I would really suggest listening to Rich Dad, Poor Dad. But when anyone ever asks me about which audiobooks to listen to, I always suggest I Will Teach You to Be Rich. It's by Ramit Sethi, I think that's how you say his name. What really got me was he said that he was going to teach us to be rich without sacrificing the little joys in life. For example, giving up an iced coffee every day is not going to teach you to be rich. It will save you some money, but he focuses on bigger topics and just really more important things that I feel they should be teaching you in school. And oftentimes I've learned so much more from audiobooks than I actually learned in business school. I've just learned so much. So I primarily use Audible for my business books. However, they do have so many different genres. They have romance, comedy, sci-fi, self-development. I personally am a member. I've been an Audible member for years now, and every month you get 1 credit for 1 audiobook and then 2 Audible originals. So you get 3 audiobooks every single month. You can get a 30-day free trial and get your first audiobook and 2 Audible original audiobooks for free if you go to audible.com/Tony, T-O-N-I, or text Tony to 500. I will leave it linked down below. Oh, I have so many suggestions. Another audiobook that I just finished listening to is called Stay Sexy and Don't Get Murdered. I really recommend that. I don't know, there's just so many I'm listening to. You can tell I love Audible. The next thing I want to talk about before we get into the tips, I know there's so many things I want to talk about, is a little disclaimer. 2 little disclaimers. The first is that in no way do I think buying luxuries is the most important. I don't think that you should go into debt for luxuries. I'm just giving you my favorite and best tips on how I afford my luxuries and how I budget. I don't really know how to word this, but I think it's important to say. I think when you look on social media, everyone portrays themselves in the best light, and it's really easy to get caught up and think, or I personally thought that everyone had their shit together and everyone was doing the best, saving the most money, having a retirement plan, investing, doing all this stuff. That is the farthest thing from the truth. I had credit card debt, especially when I was starting my businesses. I had credit card debt. I just want to let you guys know that 95% of the people in this world don't have their shit together. It is okay to not feel like you know every single thing about investing. It's okay if you know nothing. I don't want you guys to feel overwhelmed. When it comes to this stuff, I just feel like it's important to talk about, because I would think that I was the only one going through these things, or I was the only one who felt like I had no idea how to budget or how to do anything. By no means do I think I'm the #1 person to listen to and I know everything when it comes to budgeting and investing and all these things, because trust me, I'm not. I'm the first person to say that, but these are the tips that I've learned that have helped me and I think can help other people. So let's finally get on to the tips. The first and #1 thing that worked for me was setting goals. I know this may seem not that important, but holding yourself accountable to either being able to afford to purchase a bag or paying off your credit card, it is really important to set these goals. Write them down. Tell them to a friend. Tell them to your sister or your brother or your mom. Tell them to your dog. Tell them to yourself. Hold yourself accountable to your goals. And once you say them out loud, once you tell people around you, I promise you, you will be more inclined to actually save the money. Put it into the universe. Make it known that this is your goal. I want you guys to tell me in the comments if you're comfortable right now. I want you guys to hold yourself accountable. Don't feel like you have to be doing this for anyone else or for me. Do it for yourself. When I was younger, I'm going to be very honest in this video, I was working at 40 West. It's a steakhouse in Montreal. I was a hostess. I was earning maybe $100 to $200 on a good week per week. I really wanted Chanel espadrilles. I told my mom, I told my sister, I told everyone I was going to get these espadrilles. I put money away every single paycheck for these espadrilles, and when I finally got them, I had the satisfaction of telling my parents and telling my sister I got these espadrilles. I paid for them myself, and it was honestly very satisfying to do that. The second most important thing is to move your money that you are saving into an account or into a place that you cannot touch it. And this is how I saved up for those espadrilles. If my money is in my checkings account, it will be gone. Now, I do have a few different accounts. I have a savings account where I can just transfer money to my checkings, and then I also have different accounts that I cannot do that. For example, my TFSA, I have to actually go into the bank and have them transfer money. For example, I have a GIC, which is actually not something I really recommend. I cannot take money out of that for a year. I know a big tip is to actually take out the amount of money that you're allowed to spend and have it in cash, and then not bring your debit card with you. That is a tip. I don't know if I'm ready for that, because what if you get into a little emergency? But that is a tip that I've heard that many people do when they're trying to save money, because you literally can only spend the cash that you have. The third tip is to wait and think before you buy things. How many times have you gone to Winners or Marshalls or TJ Maxx and just bought things that you really don't need, you lose, you forget about, you literally just throw in a drawer and don't end up using? Think about things before you buy them. Whenever you have the urge to buy something, put it down, walk away. It's normally a 30-day rule. If you look up this rule online, it's normally taught you wait 30 days. That seems a little bit crazy to me. Like, I'll know after 7 days if I really want it. Oftentimes, if I'm looking at Zara or if I'm looking at Forever 21, I put things down sometimes and I literally forget about that. If you're not thinking about it, like 95% of the things I buy at Marshalls, then it wasn't a good purchase and you can end up just saving that money, and those things do add up. I want to talk about credit cards. Like I said in the beginning of the video, everyone has credit card. Not everyone, okay? I'm not going to generalize. I'm not going to assume you have credit card debt, but a lot of people have credit card debt. But when you're saving and you're looking to invest your money and maybe buy some stocks, or you want to buy a luxury item, pay your credit card first. I cannot stress how important it is to pay your credit card for multiple reasons. First of all, your credit. You don't want your credit going to shit. You don't want to have difficulty in the future when you are buying a house just because you wanted to get a designer bag and you went into debt. Don't go into debt for luxury items. I don't know how many times I can say it. It's not worth it. No matter how much you love a bag, no matter how much you love a pair of shoes. The second reason I really want you guys to pay your credit cards first is the interest payments. If you can, pay your credit card in full every single month, because you don't want interest to add up. If you just pay the minimum on your credit card, you're going to be paying the interest for the rest of your life. Another thing I have to say is turn on auto pay on your credit card. I have this on for my credit card. I only have one. Every month it will pay in case I forget. It will pay the minimum payment. However, I try my very best, and I do pay my credit card in full every single month, because I don't want to get slammed with those interest charges, and those interest charges are what kill you. If you take all the interest charges that you have and add them up, you can probably buy a bag with them. So why pay a credit card company when you could be paying for a bag? Just put it that way. Okay, number 5. This is where budgeting comes in. This is where Excel comes in. There are so many different apps you can use for this. However, they seem too complicated for me. There's QuickBooks, there's other ones that you can use, but I just use Excel. I learned how to use Excel in elementary school, honestly. I also took classes in high school, and then I took classes in university. So I don't know why I learned so much Excel. See, actually, if I can put a link down below to maybe an open Google Doc that you can download and use. I'm going to explain it, how I do it, and how I break it down every month. I take the amount of money I earn. For me, it's different every single month. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. Every time I get a stitch of money, I'll put it into my Excel spreadsheet. The next thing I do is I take off money for my tax, my income tax. If you get money from a company and you're paid with like a paycheck, more than likely they will take your tax off already for you. So you can skip that step if you aren't self-employed, or if you know that your employer is taking your taxes for you. If you're in Canada, if you get a T4 at the end of the year or when you're filing your taxes, you don't need to do this step. The next thing you do is look at all of your expenses. Add up your phone bill, add up your hydro if you're in Quebec, or your electricity, your internet bill, any bill that you have that you know is pretty much the same every single month. Add it up and deduct that right away from the net of your gross income minus the taxes. Once you get that amount, so you have the money you made minus the taxes, if you have to take your taxes off, minus your expenses, that's what you have left. Now you're gonna take how much you wanna save. There is a 50-20-30 savings rule where 50% will go for your needs, 20% will go for your savings, 30% will go for your wants. You can basically save how much you want every month. This is not saving for luxuries, this is saving for your future. So much more important than buying a bag. And now whatever you're left with, you've covered everything, you have this extra money to play with. Some months you may not have any, and that's okay. But with this extra money, I personally use it to go for dinner with my friends. I'll use it to buy clothes. That is your play money. As long as you know everything else is covered, that is the money that you can use to go towards your luxuries. Tip number 6 is actually something I touched on. It's an automatic savings account. So every week I have $100 transferred out of my checkings account and put into my TFSA. You have to be a little bit careful because with a tax-free savings account, you have a limit on how much you can actually put into it. This is the best thing I've ever done. I didn't always have $100 a week. I used to do $50, I think, every 2 weeks. You don't realize that it's getting transferred away, and then one day you'll look at your bank account and you have this nice savings account. So that is something that I can really recommend. Tip number 7 is to save your loose change. I know. It seems like a silly rule. However, when I was younger, my entire family went to Mexico fully paid by the change that my father had collected in a big water jug. Like, we all got on the floor, we rolled it up. Now they have machines that actually do it for you, but at the time I don't think they did. And we rolled it up. It's crazy how much change adds up. You really don't realize, but just throwing the extra change that you would throw in the bottom of your bag or throw in your cup holder, collect it and then add it up, and you can save a lot of money. Number 8 is to unsubscribe from apps and go through your credit card statement and see those automatic charges that are adding up. An example of this is like apps that you may get lured into purchasing with a free trial, but then you forget about the free trial and you just start getting charged. This is a lot of money you might be throwing away for an app you're not even using. I do this once a week because I'm terrified of being charged for an app that I don't use. The 9th tip is to pay your bills on auto pay. For example, your phone bill, your electricity bill, your internet bill, pay them on auto pay so you avoid these interest charges. As you can see, a trend in my money saving mind, or my biggest tips, are to avoid these little charges because these little interest charges add up, and then you're stuck paying these things for literally no reason just because you didn't make a payment on time. Tip number 10 pertains to the actual luxury item. You want to stay away from trends. If you look at any of the luxury items I have, I don't have too many that were trend pieces. I always think out all of the pieces I buy really carefully because you don't want to be stuck with a piece that you hate, that isn't popular anymore just because you got suckered into a trend. When you buy a more classic piece, you will be able to wear it for years without getting sick of it, without it going out of style, and just trust me, you will never regret buying a classic piece, but you probably will regret buying a bright pink neon fanny pack. Tip number 11 is to buy pre-loved. I have a whole video about buying pre-loved. It is a really amazing way to be able to afford luxury items without paying the full price tag. There's the Real that I love, Fashion Files, so many amazing luxury sellers. I actually went to Japan with Brandoff. I got my Cartier ring in Japan at Brandier, I think. Brandoff or Brandier. There's so many. So don't look at my nails, but I think I'm gonna buy this because the price is really good. You work hard. Don't look at my nails or my fake tan.
Can you try on the thin one? I like the thin.
That was such an eye-opening trip. The steps that they take to authenticate them and all of that is next level, so you can feel comfortable buying from a reputable pre-loved seller. And tip number 12, the last tip, is to make your money work for you. So I can close my little agenda. You want to make sure that your money is working around the clock. By no means do I want to sit here and say I'm Master Investor Tony, because I'm not. I still have so much to learn. I am actively trying to learn more about investing. Right now I don't feel comfortable like doing things on the stock exchange myself, but if you want to invest in an index fund or an ETF, whatever you put your money in, it is better than just sitting in your savings account, in your checkings account, where you are earning peanuts. So there you go. Those are my top 12 tips to being able to afford luxuries, or really budgeting in general. I hope this helped you. Feel free to leave your favorite tips down below. I'm always learning. So leave your favorite audiobooks on this subject down below so that everyone can see them and listen to them on Audible. Don't forget to download your free trial and get 30 days free, 1 free audiobook and 2 free Audible original audiobooks if you go to audible.com/Tony, T-O-N-I, or text Tony to 500-500. Don't forget to subscribe for new videos every single week. I love you with my whole heart, and I will see you guys back here next time.